Hello, I'm William Michael of the Classical Liberal Arts Academy, and it's August 7th today, and at this time of the year, it gets really difficult to communicate. There's just so much going on with families getting ready for the fall term, which is coming up in early September, and there's just so much administrative work and preparation to do that it's very difficult to share information about stuff that's going on and try to keep parents informed as well as I'd like to. So I'd like to take time now and then to just put together a video where I share some news and do my best to communicate current events and issues and make some recommendations while I have some time in a way that hopefully parents can make efficient use of. Tonight, I'd like to talk about three things that I think are important for Academy families. I'd like to share an update on the status of our accreditation process with Cognia. I'd like to share a happy announcement about my wife and I and our Dominican laity formation. I'd also like to talk about the parish education program, the free option for parish students, and lastly, I'd like to share a recommendation of a great new product that I received this week and would like to recommend to Catholic families. First of all, with reference to Cognia, if you're not familiar, we decided to explore the option of pursuing accreditation for the Classical Liberal Arts Academy this past year. The reason that I was interested in pursuing accreditation was because as we pursue classical Catholic education and the restoration of classical Catholic education, it's common for modern study programs or critics of what we're doing to say, well, it's not accredited, it's not realistic, it's not responsible, it's not going to get children ready for college admission or career preparation, things like that, all of which is false. And as long as the Classical Liberal Arts Academy is not accredited, people can make that argument against the classical Catholic curriculum. And in order to take that argument away and prove it false, I think it's a good idea for us to pursue accreditation. And to my surprise, over the past year, as we've gotten into that process and had meetings and discussions with the accreditation agents, the evaluators, and so on, we've found nothing but enthusiastic support, some of which I'd like to show you if you bear with me a little. But I'd like to just update the status. As of today, August 7th, the Classical Liberal Arts Academy is officially recognized as a candidate for accreditation, meaning that we've demonstrated to Cognia that we are capable of satisfying the accreditation standards. So we're granted candidate status as of today officially. And what that means is that over the next 5 months, we have simply to work through the rest of this process. We've got to provide evidence for all of the things that we've been talking about and discussing in our meetings. We've got to put this portfolio of all of the evidence for the things we've already had evaluated. We've just got to put all of this together now, and it'll be reviewed in February of 2024, and then in July of 2024 will officially be accredited. So becoming a candidate is really the hard part because they evaluate and try to discern whether you're even capable of achieving accreditation. And we sort of blew through the candidacy phase pretty easily, and their response was very enthusiastic and supportive, as I'll show you, because they sent us 2 documents today. One was a letter where they congratulated us for receiving candidacy status, which I'll share with you in a minute. And a second was a lengthy report. It's called the Candidacy Review Report. I also will share that with anyone who'd like to look through it and see what they had to say about the Academy. It's pretty strong support. I think most people will be surprised to see just how enthusiastic a modern accreditation agency is for a classical Catholic study program, which is what I told people all along. But I've had to deal with this prejudice. I always tell people C.S. Lewis referred to it as chronological snobbery, the attitude that anything that's old is stupid. I've explained to people that, in modern schools, I was the SAT prep teacher. I was the one getting high school kids ready for college admission. I know the classical Catholic curriculum is as relevant today as it ever was in the past, and no one understands that, but I can prove it now by showing people the accreditation feedback that we're getting from Cognia, and just put all of this excuse making to rest. So I'd like to share some of that with you. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm going to switch my screen here. Maybe I'll keep myself in the corner. If you go on the Academy website, and I've got a bunch of tabs open, sorry about that, but I shared the letter that I received today, so you can see, I'd like this to be open so you can see exactly what these accreditation agents have to say about the Academy. You can see this letter opens, Dear Mr. Michael, based on the candidacy review on July 5th, that's where my wife and I met with our evaluator face-to-face to discuss things. Based on that review and a bunch of other work and meetings that we've had over the past 4 or 5 months, we are pleased to congratulate the Classical Liberal Arts Academy as a candidate for accreditation with Cognia. Congratulations. As a candidate for accreditation, your school may use the following language in your publications, but we can't use logo or accredited labels yet, but we're officially allowed to communicate this, that the Classical Liberal Arts Academy is a candidate for accreditation, and then there's a bunch of accrediting agencies that are all included under the umbrella of Cognia. So you can see the congratulation letter that we received from Cognia letting us know that we've been approved for candidacy. And then if you scroll down over here to recent posts, I also shared the whole report. So if you want to see the report and see exactly what they had to say, you can see this is Cognia's report on the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. And like I said, it's surprisingly enthusiastic, really. You can see that in the different areas, standard categories that they have, one is culture of learning. And you can read here that it says the culture of learning is a strength of the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. And it talks about my background and all the information that they've gathered through our discussions and their studies. Pretty good stuff. Students are held to high standards. Help is always available. Students study the same course materials, complete the same lessons, are accountable to the same standards. And then you see this summary at the end. The Academy has the capacity to meet the standards for culture of learning, the first group of accreditation standards, so that's good. Leadership for learning is another area in which the CLAA excels. The staff is recognized as the leaders in the research and administration of classical Catholic studies today. Like I said, it's pretty enthusiastic in terms of support and the results of their interviews with our parents and students, and they're digging around in whatever information they accessed. So that's great. Another bit of positive feedback here from our parents. As a digital learning program, staff members are focused constantly on the content of the curriculum. Hosted in the Academy Study Center, parent and student interviews revealed that the leadership at the Classical Liberal Arts Academy is outstanding. So if you go through this, you can read this whole report for yourself. They get into all kinds of details which you might find interesting. But it also goes over issues that we talked about where we actually revealed to them things that we believed to be challenges that we wanted to focus on working on in the future. So all the assurances of our alignment with the standards, and then in the end, you see our approval for candidacy. So both the congratulatory letter and the candidacy review report are, just published and accessible to anyone on our website. I don't know if schools normally do that or if I'm supposed to do that, but I like to be open about everything and share with you the support for what I've said all along, but which now is beginning to sort of bear fruit, which is that the classical Catholic curriculum is as relevant as any program today, and I would argue that time is going to prove that it's superior to every program today. It's just a matter of doing the work to restore it and continue researching. So anyway, if you'd like to check any of that information out on the status of our accreditation process, the report that was written by Cognia, which is one of the, if not the largest accrediting agency in the world. I think they accredit and they manage over 36,000 institutions. So it's very broad in terms of its sample size. For any praise or disapproval that it offers is based on a wide body of evidence. So it's I think helpful for any parents who are uncertain about classical Catholic studies in modern society. I think it'll put away those concerns. So that's some good news. Another issue I mentioned was some good news for Dania and I. I'll look at this About Us page real quick just to share this. On the About page where you see our biographies, if you scroll down to information about lay Dominicans, my wife and I have been discerning a vocation to the Dominican order for a long time, actually. Way back to even before the CLAA started, back in 2007 was the first time that we had contact with the Dominicans and started talking about things, but we were just so busy at that time, it wasn't possible. And there also wasn't a chapter local for us. We would have had to drive like 4 hours for monthly chapter meetings. So with all the kids being young and our career being very busy, it just wasn't possible. But over the past few years, we finally were able to settle into the local chapter that started in Charlotte at St. Joseph's Seminary, which is an amazing place. And we've gone through 2 years of formation. This year we finished our candidate year as lay Dominicans, both Dania and I. And we were approved this past week, formally approved, to make our temporary promises on September 16th together. So that's exciting news. We'll be making our promises in a reception ceremony at St. Thomas Aquinas Church here in Charlotte. So for Dania and I, that's just in God's providence, another exciting development that's just happening to take place at the same time as all this accreditation stuff. So thanks be to God. We're going to be received into the Dominican family as third order Dominicans or lay Dominicans, and it just happens that tomorrow is the feast of St. Dominic, so the timing is perfect. So that's the second thing I wanted to share, that we'll both be making our temporary promises, our 3-year promises to live according to the rule of the laity of the Order of St. Dominic. Thirdly, I mentioned the free parish enrollment plan, and if you look on our website over here on the top left under Getting Started, there's a link there, and you can see the web address. You don't see it on here, but if you just go to classicalliberalarts.com/free, it'll take you to this page. And there's information here for what we're promoting as a free parish education program. And this is a pretty radical undertaking that we're making. It's ambitious on our side because we really believe that parishes need to explore alternatives for parish education, that the old model of K to 12 brick and mortar Catholic schools is dying, and we can continue to just watch this ship sink over time, continue to watch schools close, continue to watch schools, isolate. Like in our diocese, there are Catholic schools in our diocese, but they're all concentrated in the Charlotte area, and we live in a different county, and our parishes are being asked to collect money to send to Charlotte to fund the Catholic schools that children in our parishes don't even get to attend. So the parish schools are really not sustainable as they are, because there were a number of practical decisions made back in the early 1900s that were imprudent and have proven over time to be unsustainable. And so now what's really unfortunate is that as these schools prove to be unsustainable financially, there's just so many problems with the plan that rather than consider an alternative or reform the schools or change the model, the schools are just closing. I just read about another one. I think it was an all-girls school up in New Jersey that just closed after, like 100 years of serving. I think it's in Lodi, New Jersey. There was a school that just closed recently this past year. But that it just seems like an irresponsible response to what is really a practical problem, that the plan for parish education is not sustainable, and it's a concern for us because we live in a society where education is compulsory for all of our children. So we don't have the option to just have the working class kids go work in the field and learn a virtuous life through work, while the noble kids get to go to school and focus on classical liberal studies and things like that. Everyone is required to go to school, and if education, Catholic education, is not made available for all of the students, then most of the Catholic students in the parish just end up getting sent to the local public schools, which I don't understand how that can be a plan for the good of any of the parish children. And I think it's time for parishes to really examine what their thoughts are about education and whether they're sustainable. And if they're not sustainable, to at least be willing to listen to some suggestions for alternative arrangements. That's really all I can ask, is that someone would even listen to an explanation of how parish education could be arranged in a way that is sustainable in this generation. I'm running a school program right now in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy with almost 3,000 students, and the cost of enrollment is $25 per month. I can explain to parishes how to make Catholic education affordable and also at high quality. I don't know why we're committed to this brick and mortar model of basically public school education, even though it's going underwater. All I can do, I can do two things. I can model an example of sustainable Catholic education in modern society. I can model it. I can even get it accredited to prove that it's respectable and relevant. So I can do those things on my own in my own work, and then I can just try to make it accessible to any parishes who are even willing to think or listen to an alternative, to explore a way that is effective and affordable that parishes could easily organize. So on this information page, there's this illustration which helps to show this simple idea about how parish education can be thought of. You see at the center of this circle is the academy curriculum, because we already have, let me share this. If we go to the study center real quick, just follow this link. We've already built a learning management system in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy that's got over 90 online courses. Just an amazing collection. I mean, the comments we get day by day are, just so excited and enthusiastic. And we've got this whole curriculum laid out and developing on this learning management system, which really is the heart of a school program around which all of the activities of a school can be organized. This is what most modern schools are missing. Most modern schools actually don't have this central source of learning. And this is why schools lack culture. They really don't have a curriculum. They really don't have a like-minded core or culture at the heart of the school. And that's why everything is just sort of disorganized and detached and superficial. They're dependent on finding great teachers, which they can't find. Teacher turnover causes all kinds of havoc in the school program, and the kids ultimately suffer because there's no curriculum. Well, in the academy, what we've done is we've established the curriculum first, which is really the priority of a school. And this is what we make available through our parish enrollment program at no cost. We're making that learning management system, access to all of those online courses, available for free to any parishes that are willing to learn and explore this option for providing quality Catholic education for students using available technology that actually makes Catholic education sustainable in the 21st century. We've already done the work. The hard work is already done, and we're offering the fruit of that work to Catholic parishes at no cost if they're willing to take responsibility for the education of the children in the parish. And like I said, there's only so much we can do to try to help, other than actually accomplish what we explain ourselves and prove it to be viable and sustainable, and then offer it to parishes at no cost, just to remove every possible excuse. Because honestly, I don't understand why the church is being so, I would say, negligent with respect to education, rather than trying to actually take some initiative and show some wisdom and creativity, show some inspiration and desire to provide for the education of Catholic kids. I don't understand why we're letting schools just close and say, oh, well, they just all have to go to the public school. I don't get it. But anyway, in this parish education program, we're making the core curriculum on our learning management system available for any parish that wants to use it for free. And like I said, there's nothing else I can do. And in this illustration, I just show a simple diagram of how the culture of a parish school, the culture of parish education, can be developed around this core curriculum. So every local parish, they have their own personality, they have their own unique circumstances, their own personnel and makeup and things like that. That's what allows the parish school to be the parish school. But at the heart of that, to have a timeless, universal, and, God willing, accredited curriculum really makes this plan possible, so that there is some stability and unity, some universality among these schools that's truly Catholic, as you'll see if you explore it. But then it also allows for each parish to have its own unique character and have its own school culture with its own tastes and flavor and preferences and geographical and cultural influences and things like that. That's what I would recommend for schools. I would recommend for parishes to understand that you can make use of an established core curriculum to benefit all the students, to really create the core of that school community, and then develop your own parish personality and character for that school around that curriculum. That's how it's going to work in the 21st century. I mean, colleges have already learned this. Colleges are already building their programs around learning management systems. Secular schools are doing this, but the Catholic schools, I don't know what they're doing, honestly. I'm not sure why they're choosing to ignore all this and just continue with a failing plan. I hope it doesn't continue, but all I can do, like I said, is model a solution and make that solution available at no cost. That's all that we can do. So we're doing it with our free parish education program. If there are any priests or even education directors in parishes that are interested in even talking about an alternative, we're available. All they have to do is reach out and get in touch, and we'll explain how they can use our resources and organize their own school culture, whether it's by organizing events for homeschooling families or developing a hybrid program with maybe some classes at the parish combined with homeschooling. There's so much flexibility because of the technology and because of a program like ours that allows a parish to do this. I hope that someone will at least listen and be willing to hear an alternative, because in the meantime, we're going to end up with 5,000 students with, I don't know what to say. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, the parish education program is available and it's free to any parishes that want to make use of it. Now, lastly, the other thing I mentioned, as you know, in the Academy, I've always promoted the Liturgy of the Hours really as the core of our daily spiritual life as Catholics. It's great for families to learn to pray. And when I say families, I really mean parents. It's great for parents to learn how to pray the Liturgy of the Hours and to slowly make it their own personal devotional life. It's the official prayer of the Catholic Church, and it's recommended by the Church to all the faithful, all Catholics, not just religious, not just priests, but all Catholics. If you want to learn about the Liturgy of the Hours, if you go to our website and just scroll down on this right side of the page under Catholic Prayer, you'll see Liturgy of the Hours as a link. If you click on that, it'll take you to this Liturgy of the Hours page, which has tons of resources and instructions for how to pray the Liturgy of the Hours. I even, provide some really terrible examples of how to chant the canticles and things like that. But it's helpful if you've got no other sources. But if you go to the Liturgy of the Hours page on the Academy website, you'll find lots of helpful information there. But the Liturgy of the Hours is currently being revised by the Church, which is a massive project. If you're familiar with the Liturgy of the Hours, you'll know just what a massive project the revising of that would be. But they've been working on it, and it sort of gets approved part by part. And they had the Psalter was retranslated and approved, I think a couple years back. And then recently, which is very exciting to me, I'm really thrilled with this. Recently, let me switch my camera here so you can see this. Recently, the Divine Office hymnal was completely revised, or even put together for the first time, really. But there's a Divine Office hymnal now available, which is going to be the official hymnal for the Liturgy of the Hours. And what's funny is I was an Anglican convert. So as an Anglican, I came out of a very rich musical tradition. Even to this day, on my desk here, I have the Anglican Psalter. I mean, this is the old Book of Common Prayer Psalter that I still love to listen to and chant. If you listen to CLA radio, you'll hear some Anglican chant on there. I've always wished that some of this quality English hymnody could get into the Divine Office. Another thing that I've done through the years is this is the monastic diurnal, which is the breviary of the Benedictines. And in this prayer book, in this Divine Office, they've got all of the old Latin Divine Office hymns, and there are English translations for them. So I've always messed with the old breviary and the Anglican Psalter just because I love hymns so much, and I love singing hymns and including them in my daily devotions. And I just always wished that the church would do something better with the music in the Liturgy of the Hours. And, thanks be to God, that's what this is, the Divine Office Hymnal. I mean, it's incredible what has been put together. Most of the hymns are ancient hymns. They've all been put together, and you just have to see this because it's so great how they did it. I don't think I could be happier in how they laid it out and prepared it all. But what they've got here is for each hymn, and I'm sorry if this doesn't show up very well on the camera, but for each hymn, so there's 2 pages, it's one hymn, but 2 different versions. On the left side, they've got the hymn set to, a more modern English hymn tune, the kind of hymns we sing, usually at church and things like that, English hymns, which is great because we have these ancient hymns set to familiar tunes, which is really great. That's the kind of thing that we can get together and sing as a family, or as if you have some friends together, you can sing a hymn together. But on the other side of the page, on the right side, they've got the same hymn, set to Gregorian chant. So both a more modern, I feel like I should say traditional hymn, but it's really not traditional, it's more modern. A more modern English hymn is available on one page, hymn tune, I should say, and then the same hymn set to Gregorian chant is available on the opposite page. So it just couldn't get any better. I mean, what they did was exactly what was needed, and it's going to be awesome as we begin to learn all of the tunes and start practicing and singing it. I really can't wait. I got into it this past weekend for the first time, and like I said, I just couldn't be happier with what the church is doing for us in terms of hymns for the Divine Office. Now, if you look at my book here, you'll see there's some markers. I don't know if you can see the Post-it notes. They're over here. It's divided according to the divisions of the Liturgy of the Hours. So the first third is proper of seasons, so it's all hymns that relate to the seasons of the church calendar. The second part is proper of saints, so it's a whole collection of hymns for the different saint feast days. And then lastly, the commons, for all the different commons, like commons of pastors, common of doctors of the church, of virgins, of holy women, and so on. So the hymnal is actually divided in the same way that the Liturgy of the Hours is divided, and it's just perfect. So if you're interested in praying the Liturgy of the Hours, if you're a hymn lover like I am, this 10 out of 10 recommendation, and you can get this from the publisher. I don't think it's available on Amazon. We don't have it in the Academy bookstore, but it's GIA Publications. You can see that logo down the bottom there. GIA Publications. Just Google it. Google Divine Office Hymnal. I think it cost me $25, and it's perfect. So get yourself a copy and start practicing. Now, before I wrap up here, you might wonder, well, how in the world can I know how to sing all these hymns? Because not many Catholics have much of a background in English hymnody, and it's actually very simple. If you look at the English hymns in the hymn book, sorry, it's real bright in front of these lights, but down in the bottom left-hand corner of the page, it tells you the name of the hymn tune. And you can take that hymn tune name and you can actually search it and find a recording of that tune. There's a website that I'll recommend. If you go to Google and just search for Cyber Hymnal, and open up that website, you'll see that one of the links on the page, actually I'll show it to you real quick. It's easier for me just to show you. So just Google Cyber Hymnal. Give me 1 second actually, and I'll find this without you having to run through the internet with me. But if you search for Cyber Hymnal, here we go. Cyber Hymnal. It's a Protestant website, but it's awesome. I've been using this, for like 25 years. I've been using this website. But down over here, you'll see that there's a link for Tunes by Name. And if you click on that link, you'll see this, list of the letters for the names of the hymns. And you can just look at the hymn and see the tune name. This one is, it looks like Eisenach. So if I look under E and scroll down, they have almost everything on this website, but I can find Eisenach right here. So that's the hymn for this tune, and then there are examples here of hymns that are sung to that tune. You can just click on any of these. It doesn't even matter what the hymn is because we're just interested in the tune. And then, I don't know if you can hear this or not, but it's just a cheesy MIDI file. But you can hear the tune, learn the tune, and then sing the hymn. So, this hymnal, like I said, it just, as far as Liturgy of the Hours goes, it just couldn't get better. And they're available in print now, and I guess in some way they're going to be included with the Liturgy of the Hours when it's revised in the future. So really cool stuff, but I can strongly recommend the Divine Office Hymnal if you'd like to not only pray the Liturgy of the Hours, but also learn to sing the hymns of the Divine Office. So those are the items that I wanted to share. Like I said, it's hard to communicate at this point because there's so much going on. And to be honest, I struggle to even know how I can communicate all the stuff that's going on. But I think if I just have periodic videos like this, I can just share whatever is on my mind and developing at the time, and maybe keep parents and prospective families informed as to what's going on, because these are some pretty cool days. We've got a lot of development. Things are coming together very quickly, and I think very beautifully. And the program is growing so rapidly, and I just want to try to make sure that everyone is able to communicate and stay informed about what's going on, because there's lots of cool stuff to talk about and think about. So anyway, if you've got any questions about this stuff or any other items that you've seen on the website or heard about through the grapevine, just get in touch. Again, it's August 7th. We've got another month before the fall term begins, and lots of new stuff coming this fall. So I'll make another one or two of these videos before we get back to the fall term, but I hope this one's helpful to try to keep us all aligned together as we move forward. God bless.